Oh,
Hello again, sports fans. Just some breaking news for Orioles fans. A massive collision at home plate. Rutschman and Henderson both out for the season.
yes. And then I just heard that Bryce Harper has been traded back to the Nats.
What?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
April Fools!
Yes.
Hello, this is
Yeah.
Sports Chat. Corey
Yes.
Smith, I'm Jeff Cook. And this
April
is
1st.
exciting.
Yeah.
We're going to show this after trivia.
After trivia.
All right, so we have some things to take care of, and then in a few minutes, instead of call in tonight, we're going to do a call out. We did it once before. My cousin Jack lives in North Carolina, a big Philly sports fan, so we're going to call him at about 6:10. But Tommy Houck, he's got to be a shining star. He's not. I mean. Yeah, well, I started writing his name down. Okay.
That's what that
Tom,
was.
you pronounce it How?
Thomas
Tommy
Howe.
Howe?
How?
How?
How you say that? How?
How?
Yeah.
I think the announcers say Houck, don't they?
I think so, yeah.
All right. So How, it sounds like an Abbott and Costello routine. Who's on first? How's on second? But plays for Florida. They're in the Final Four. So we actually have some footage. Red Lion and New Oxford set the Wayback Machine for January 24th, 2020. So this is
Before COVID.
just before COVID.
Yeah.
It's probably COVID was all over the place, but nobody knew it yet. The end of innocence. But Tommy Houck, or Howe, and the rest of the New Oxford team, look forward to checking that out. Probably Braden Long was on that team.
I believe so.
So great work, Sean, in the control room, just able to dial that up on a moment's notice.
Got that like 5 minutes before
Oh,
we
yeah.
start the
I mean,
show.
we're
bam.
high tech here. We are community media, channel 12 at 240 on your Comcast cable dial. All right. Hottest seat in sports. You want me to lead off? Because before we come on the air, we discussed this at great length to make sure our ideas are worthy. Torpedo bats. Yankees had 15 homers in 3 games, and some people are already saying, well, they have a very talented team.
Yeah, I mean, they were the first team to kind of start this torpedo bat, bowling ball type shaped bat.
The saying, better living through chemistry, maybe should be better hitting through physics, because a physicist, I mean, it makes sense. Why not expand the sweet spot? Isn't that a big goal of hitting, to connect with the sweet spot of the bat? Well, if you have more sweet spot, it should be easier.
Yeah. This was from an MIT graduate, that was a field coordinator. I have
Maybe we should put him on the shining star.
yeah, it was Aaron Linhart.
Aaron?
Aaron Linhart.
How do you spell the first name?
AAR.
Aaron, okay.
Aaron, yeah.
Linhart, H-A-R-T at the end?
Yes.
Okay. All right, the inventor of the torpedo bat. Can the torpedo ball be far behind?
I think that might be the next
the
layers
torpedo
there, but
pitch.
yeah. Now he is the field coordinator for the Miami Marlins, so he's not with the Yankees anymore. But just the discovery.
What does that mean, field coordinator?
I guess he does analytical
okay.
stuff. I don't know.
In
It's
the
just,
field, goes out and watches games and logs in data, or does he mow the grass at the stadium?
Or he just does
Field
all this
coordinator.
analytical.
I don't know what that
yeah.
is. Okay.
But it's just a different tag there. But
All right.
it's crazy that it took this many years for this rage of the torpedo bat. I mean, this is what everybody's been talking about all
It's like
throughout the weekend.
A.J. Brown, when he reads the book, it becomes a bestseller. Now everybody and his uncle wants a torpedo bat.
Yeah. Now we're
They must be
getting
flying off the shelves.
we're getting multiple players getting these bats. I think you're not going to get success from the bat. You still have to make contact with the bat there, but having that
A
sweet
blind
spot
man
bat,
wouldn't be able to turn the torpedo hat or bat into a major league career. So yeah, you have to have a pretty good hand-eye coordination, because Ted Williams once said, it's the hardest thing to do in all of sports. All right, so
So that's your hot
that's
seat.
my hot seat, my shining star. I had to go with Paige Beckers. And of course, we have Tom Houck, 'cause that was you, and then I kind of, as a generic thing, all number one seeds make the Final Four, so I guess the prognosticators, they're shining stars for picking the number one seeds correctly. It hasn't happened since,
2008,
and yeah, and where was that held?
San Antonio.
And where is it this year?
San Antonio. So, yeah.
Something out of the
Something in the waters.
transfer
yeah.
portal, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, so go,
My hot
you have,
seat.
yeah, you have a good hot seat, right? Go
So
ahead.
speaking of this torpedo bat there, I think someone that might want to use it is maybe Rafael Devers.
He's torpedoing his career.
Yeah, maybe to the bench at this matter there. He struck out 3 times yesterday against the O's. So far through 5 games, he's 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts. He is the first player to have this stat since 1901. I don't know who that player was. I couldn't find that stat there.
Not in the
but
Hall of
yeah.
Fame, I would venture to say.
Yes. So what an ugly way to start the
Well,
season.
I mean, Devers, they pay him a lot of money, but he thinks he's a third baseman, yet the data says he was the worst third baseman in all of baseball, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, all right,
Now-
so there's always room for more on the hot seat. How about this Jurickson Profar and the Braves? The Braves are off to a terrible start. Now they got this has got to be a distraction. He says, I would never use drugs intentionally. How did it get in his body? I don't know, but it's hot seat worthy.
I agree.
And you feel like you let your teammates down.
Yeah. And
Because
now
not only does he miss half the season, you told me this,
can't play in the postseason if the Braves make
if
the,
they make it. Are they 0-5 or just 0-4?
they are winless 0-4, I think it
Yeah.
is. Or I think it's 0-5 because they had a 4-game series with the Padres there.
So
But yeah,
Yankees are undefeated. Any other undefeated teams?
we got 3 teams left. We got the Dodgers,
Oh, yeah.
Padres, and the
Oh,
Yankees there.
oh,
are
wow.
The undefeated.
And the Dodgers are what, 5-0?
5-0 there, yes.
Padres 4?
Padres are 4-0 and the Yankees are 3-0. You know, just because of the days off and all that.
Yeah.
in between there. But
Always 3-1, not in the mix. All right, so, and then Shining Star, you had somebody else.
yes, I my other shining star is you were sticking with baseball here. We're going to go with Ellie De La Cruz. He went 4 for 5 last night with the Reds. With the win over the Rangers, 14-3. He had 2 home runs, driving in 7 RBIs with a stolen base. So, you know, with that performance last night, with the torpedo bat there. So, you know, you look at that. There's a number of other deserving players as well. Mackenzie Gore went, 6
yeah.
innings, with
1 hit or something.
13 strikeouts, no walks, in a debut. So, but didn't get the win. So,
And we put Aaron Linhart, you did, the inventor of the torpedo bat. He gets a shout out.
yeah.
All right, well, listen, at 6:10, I told my cousin Jack Cook from the great state of North Carolina. Let's see if he is available. Oh, wrong button. Okay, here we go.
Hey, Jeff.
Jack, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good, you're on the air worldwide. Corey Smith is here with me. We've been singing your praises. We do this thing called Hottest Seat in Sports, Shining Star. I'll just tell you what we threw out there if you want to add anything to the mix, and then we can talk Philly sports or really whatever you want. And good, because there's another call, we can't take it. We'll have to take that other guy later because we think we know who it is. Anyway, Hottest Seat in Sports, torpedo bats. What do you think of that?
I don't know.
The Yankees, yeah.
The Yankees, the league has approved them.
Yeah, they're not illegal per se. unlike corking a bat, or what else have you heard that people do to, they shave the handle or something?
Pine tar or something like
Pine
that. there,
tar,
yeah.
George Brett, and knows about that. And then Rafael Devers, bad start for him. I don't know how many million he's getting. We don't need to know, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll get a hit eventually, won't he?
I think
Is
so.
that the third baseman on the Red Sox?
Well, now he's playing DH and he's kind of pouting about it. So yeah, he's 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts. So
I mean, I guess you could say he's due for a base hit. You know, that's, you know.
yeah, he's due. Yeah, keep putting him in the line out. At some point, you gotta. I mean, we think he's pouting because he wants to be the third baseman, but his metrics are bad. So, and then we had Jurickson Profar. I know, Jack, you and I really don't have any pity for the Braves, but the Braves are off to a bad start. That doesn't mean they can't turn it around, but somehow they aren't as formidable as they were a couple years ago.
Yeah, the bullpen. Here's a stat there with the bullpen there with the Braves. They have given up 12 earned runs in 9 innings. I mean, that right there, or 9 runs in 12 innings, that is not going to win you ball games when you have close games. And then when you have an offense that has been shut out twice and nobody in the lineup is batting above 200. That is just a formula of losing games. So.
Yeah, they're what,
0-4, yes.
Well, that's okay. I mean, Acuna Jr. is coming back in May. They're probably thinking we need some reinforcements. Has Strider pitched yet?
He had a couple. He had
An outing.
spring training outing there. He looked pretty well there. He'll probably be back in some point in May there. So there's still some time for that there. They placed Lopez on the IL, so they're dealing with injuries. Sean Murphy, their catcher, is also on the IL. So this is probably the time to play play the Braves. And you start the season with the Padres and the Dodgers. That's not a good way to start it. So
Both of whom you pointed out to me are undefeated, along with the Yankees.
Yeah.
So I guess the Yankees are on tonight. Phillies have the day off. So what do we do on a day off, Jack, when the Phillies aren't playing? Do you watch another game?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a diehard Phillies fan and a diehard Eagles fan, and I watch them all the time, but I really don't get into other teams too much unless
Yeah.
you're playing the Phillies.
Yeah. And the Sixers a disaster. I'm a pretty diehard Sixers fan, and Greg, my brother, he has a package. He goes, I don't know, 6 games a year or something. But man, it looks like they're trying to tank now.
Well, yeah.
We're
Some players were injured for the last game. They couldn't play.
they forfeited the game.
No, they played, but
Oh yeah, with guys you never heard of.
these players were injured or not that weren't playing. That Daryl Morey, the general manager, he has really destroyed it.
Oh yeah. What'd they get for Harden anyway? Anything? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Yeah.
I know what they gave up to get him.
whatever it wasn't enough.
Oh yeah, right. Steph Curry or Seth Curry was in that deal, right?
Oh yeah, he was in a deal, and so was Drummond, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I know that we did our shining stars. So I said Paige Beckers. Did I say that?
Yes, you did. Yep.
She is lighting it up for UConn. They made the Final Four. All 4 number 1 seeds are in the Final Four, and Ellie Dela Cruz, he's kind of scary. Corey put him in the shining star category, along with Tom Houck, however it's pronounced. He's from New Oxford. That's where we are right now. And he plays for Florida. And he had 20 points in the win over, who was that last win over?
So they beat Texas Tech.
Okay, yeah, it was, a rough and tumble game. Probably one of the best games of the weekend. So, getting back to Philly sports, Jack, do you now it's serious. I guess you can even get talk radio. Do you indulge in any of that?
Do I indulge in what?
Like sports talk on radio. I mean, I have.
Oh, yeah, listen. Can I say what the station is?
Absolutely.
Sure, yeah.
I listen to WIP.
Uh-huh. Well, isn't that the Phillies? They're on that station, aren't they?
Yeah, both the Phillies and the Eagles play on that station.
Yeah. Merle Reese keeps going strong. So would you listen, would you play the radio call for an Eagles game and watch the TV? Have you ever done that?
Yeah, last year I did it all the time. I
Mike
watched the
Quick.
games and turned the sound down.
Yeah, I know. How many years ago was that when, I think it was NBC, but it could have been any network. I think they did 2 weekends in a row with no announcers. They just showed the video of the game.
Wasn't that just like one game?
Maybe it was just one
think-
game.
yeah.
I
It
mean,
was the New York Jets and somebody else.
yeah, I mean, but that was what, in the 80s? Probably in the 1980s. Long before your time, Corey, but, and I told you, Jack, that I wrote about listening to in the 1960 NFL championship game on the radio. I don't think it was televised, or maybe we were too busy to watch it, but I remember listening to it on the radio.
It was blacked out in our.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. That's crazy. But that's what we, you know,
Yeah,
and,
I remember you were at my house
Yeah.
with your family,
right.
and we were listening to the championship game, and had a great result.
Yeah, it was a close game too, as I recall, like,
Yeah, well, it was 17-13 was the final
all
score.
right, nice. And 48 was before our time, but they also won in 48. I assume that wasn't televised either. I don't know.
No, but you know the championship game in 1960, they had it on that night. They replayed the game like at 10 o'clock Sunday night.
Nice.
So I was 10 years old at the time, so my father let me stay up and watch the replay of it.
Yeah.
So that was my big thrill. But then he never saw it again. He never saw it. Like nowadays, you go turn on the NFL Network, and they're replaying all the playoff games over and over again. So
Yeah.
you're able to catch up with them.
Cool. Or like watch Gale Sayers play and some of the names during our youth. Johnny Unitas. Well, he wore high top shoes. You knew that.
Oh, yeah.
Corey's a Baltimore sports fan, so he's all things Orioles. So yeah, Eagles. Brandon Graham threw out the first pitch in Saquon Barkley, and the Phillies won.
Yeah.
Well, that's been Corey was talking about the Braves bullpen, but that's been the Phillies' forte has been not doing too well against the team's starters and just kind of waiting it out and just taking it out on the bullpens.
You're right.
A question for both of you there. What do you think about Trey Turner? He's been, kind of that back, spasms there. Is there?
Drew a key walk yesterday, scored a run, scored on the double, came flying around the bases. So I didn't see. Do you have MLB package, Jack? Do you watch the games on TV?
No, I don't have that.
Yeah, I do, but I just didn't
A lot of
sign up for
times,
it.
Down here in North Carolina, we have the Nationals games are on TV down here.
Well, we get all the
So I
net.
get to see all the Phillies games on TV when they play the Nationals.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of times they're on the Major League Baseball network. They'll have their game on.
Yeah, see, we get blacked out when they're on MLB. We're in the Phillies. We're not really in the Phillies area, but close enough that we get blacked out according to contractual requirements, whatever.
Are you considered Philadelphia or Pittsburgh?
Philadelphia. We get
Philadelphia.
every Pirates game too, and we get every Orioles game, every Nationals game, every Pirates game on our cable. But we don't get. We used to get the Phillies backup channel. They had a what would you call that when you have your secondary? The local cable TV who carries the Phillies.
The
and they had
affiliates of that.
Yeah, so if the Sixers weren't on or the Flyers weren't on and it was the spring or the fall, maybe they would show the Phillies. So, but they don't do that anymore. That's not part of our cable. So, so Brandon Graham, did you see the open? So you weren't able to watch. I listened to a lot of the home opener, but I wasn't able to watch it for all the reasons we just stated. But I didn't hear anything about how their pitches were, Barkley and Graham? I wonder if they warmed up.
I didn't see that. I did. The game was on TV down here with the
MLB?
the Major League Baseball. They show the first week to everybody to get you to sign up. So the first week you can watch all the games.
Yeah,
So I got to watch the opener.
nice.
That night.
So, Sanchez looked pretty good, I guess.
Yesterday,
Yeah.
from what I read, yeah, I didn't get to watch the game yesterday.
Oh, okay. You mean the season opener, not the home opener. Well, Sanchez, I mean, he's only been a Philly for what, 3 years, but he's really blossomed. And I didn't realize that he was capable of throwing 96, 97 miles an hour. So maybe he's even developed more strength, whatever it is. But he made the All-Star team last year, and I think he gave up what, a solo homer? That was it yesterday.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good. I'm really surprised. Sanchez, he was not high on my radar when he was coming out of the minor leagues, and but he has really surprised me. I'm really impressed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, who's this guy? I never heard of him before. But yeah, he really, and didn't he add a new pitch or something? But
Yeah.
he's got a
Yeah.
super changeup. I mean, that thing just drops off the table. So,
I got
Go
the
ahead.
video
When
of,
do we get to watch Walker pitch? He's
yeah. Well, I was surprised he
I'm
made.
excited to see how he does.
Well, he didn't do. What was his ERA in spring training? He got plenty of chances to change people's view of him.
It's about 5, I think.
Is that it?
5.0.
That's pretty good for him.
here's
Okay.
the video of
He was
Barkley
terrible last
and
year.
Brandon Graham.
Oh, here. Corey's got this. We're just watching it here in the studio, but he dialed it up first. That's Barkley,
A little lob.
yeah, and yeah,
Right,
both
yeah, that was-
both down Broadway. Yeah, sometimes when they bring a position player to pitch, they just lob it in there, and major league hitters have a hard time adjusting sometimes, or else the ball goes a long way. So that was exciting.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I've seen
Corey.
far worse, first pitch, from athletes there. So
Oh,
they've
yeah.
got
Oh,
that,
yeah. Right.
Nice
They
little lob there.
Dribbles in.
You don't want to bounce a first pitch there,
Yeah.
so.
I went to
Does
watch.
some-
Go ahead.
does
Go ahead.
somebody bounce the first pitch?
No, it was a nice little lob right into the guy's mitt there. So
Yeah.
I
You don't
gave
wanna-
it,
You don't want to look like a bowler.
I gave it a passing grade there.
Oh, definitely. So, Carolina hockey, are they still in it?
To tell you the truth, I'm not a big.
I'm not either. I'm.
I'm a Phillies, Eagles, and the 76ers when they were decent.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I remember Perrin and Bobby Clark and Schultz, but from the back to, they haven't won a Stanley Cup since then, have they?
No.
No.
Won 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And the third year they played Montreal in the playoffs and for the Stanley Cup, and they got Montreal just squeezed by and won in that series.
Yeah. Well,
And
that
since I think they made the Stanley Cup Finals a couple times, but they've
Yeah.
never won it since.
can't get back to the parade. So, yeah, Philly's pretty famous when they win and have these parades. People climb poles. Sometimes they fall to their death. It's a wild scene. So somebody asked me if I wanted to go down this year to celebrate the Eagles. I politely declined. I mean, I don't think that's a place for senior citizens like myself. And by the way, belated birthday wishes to you, Jack. 3/4 of a century. That's how did that happen?
I don't know. It went by pretty fast.
Well, you're well preserved, so kudos to you. And what else can we talk about Philly sports wise, or any? We're open for discussion.
I wanted to ask you, Jeff, what you think of what the league's trying to do with that. What do they call that? That
Tush push?
sneak.
Oh, the tush push, the brotherly shove. Yeah, apparently started with the Packers. What they got beat up with that play down in Brazil or something in the opener.
Or the playoffs, or,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right, the playoffs, they destroyed them in the playoffs, so,
so they tabled it for whenever. So it looks like it's not going to get changed this year. It might come back up next year in the owners' meeting.
well, I
There's-
like how they say it's for safety, but nobody's ever been hurt during the play, unlike the kickoff return, which there's data there.
Speaking of the kickoff, touchbacks are now going to be to the 35-yard line. So
Well, that should, I mean, they're gonna develop, guys are gonna develop technique to maybe have it land at the 5 and get guys catching it on the short hop where maybe they'll fumble it. A lot can happen. But yeah, when you see a touchback every single time, that is kind of dull.
yeah,
Yeah.
But at the same time, if your team is on defense, you're okay with it. You don't want a big return.
So what do you think of Howie Roseman's performance the last few years?
Has he ever been executive of the year? He probably has, and he deserves it. I mean,
When they won the Super Bowl back in 18, he got
Yeah.
the,
yeah. Well,
Who got it this year? Is he?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I guess he would have announced it by now. I don't know who did. But what about the draft? Okay, first let me ask you this. Did the Phillies trade Dallas Goedert? No.
What?
It was like, it's clickbait. I mean, if you go online enough, you're going to see a headline about every Phillies starter being traded, and it's all baloney to get you look at ads. Told to Corey, I finally know what clickbait is. But they always say kind of nebulous, Phillies star traded or Eagles star traded, and it looked like a photo of Dallas Goedert. Now, why would they trade him? Unless they're going to try to move up and draft Tyler Warren. What do you think of that?
Well, they can't get that high up in
No.
the draft. To
No.
him.
they would have to give up,
It's like 10th in a lot of projected.
yeah, they
draft.
would have to almost give up a second round, a first round, a lot for this year just to move up the draft board to pick up a Warren or anybody else in that neck of the woods there. So
He's all set to run the Philly special, though.
I got the executive of the year. It was actually Brad Holmes, 24-23 season. Howie won in 2022, and
Who's Holmes? What team is that?
the Lions.
Oh, well, good pick.
He
In
probably deserves it.
Yeah.
2021, it was Bill Belichick was the executive of the year. So
Was he like GM and
Yeah, he was GM,
coach?
head coach there, yeah.
boy. Well, nobody wanted Bill Belichick. What's with him? Bad breath?
No, he wants all the power.
Yeah,
He won't share it with the general manager or the owner or anything.
right. Nobody can tell him what to do, and so he's kind of stubborn,
Yeah.
ornery, and nobody in the NFL would touch him. He's only 20 wins short of Don Shula. So it's not a lot.
I think it's
Corey will dial that up, but it's doable if in a couple of years. But now he's at North Carolina. Now all the colleges have GMs, and this whole concept of student athletes is kind of quaint, isn't it? Outdated. What do you?
I'm really, I don't like it at all. It's
NIL? Yeah,
it's college sports for me now with all this
I know.
paid money and all this stuff.
It's interesting. The women, especially, they make more NIL in college than they do in the WNBA. Although that is evolving, and rightfully so. The women are getting better paid in the WNBA. Go ahead, Corey. What do you got?
Belichick is 26 games away from
26 from Don Shula.
which looks like it's
I was
going-
there when Don Shula set the record. Went down with a friend of mine, and we were there. I think the Eagles quarterback was Jeff Kemp. Does that name sound familiar, Jack?
Yeah.
They had a lot of
He was back in the
journeyman.
90s, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was in the 90s, or late 80s, early 90s.
Early 90s, I think.
Early 90s. But yeah, they had a lot of journeyman quarterbacks back in the day. So wasn't Peterson, did Peterson play for, Doug Peterson play for the Eagles too?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
a backup quarterback, so,
Are you, when they drafted McNabb. They brought him in from the Packers to start the season as their number one quarterback, I believe. And then about the ninth game into the season, McNabb started to start the games.
Well, you have a great story about McNabb and the overtime game at Cincinnati. You were there, right?
You know what the rules were for
Yeah.
overtime?
I was supposed to go to that game, and our whole family was going. Nancy went, and I was coaching the women's rugby team at Gettysburg College, and we were in the national championship, so I couldn't go. But that was so. He
Yeah,
thought.
we really had a great time. Steve, he did a great job cooking the meat on the grill, and
Yeah.
I mean, it was freezing.
Tailgate. Oh yeah.
We didn't really notice.
Yeah.
And,
But yeah, he thought that it would keep going. He didn't think the game could end in a tie, right?
you're right. I think the final score was 10-10.
Yeah.
They, yeah.
And then in the Super Bowl game against Tampa Bay, where he was throwing up, going to the line of scrimmage.
That was in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a 2004 season. there.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess Tampa Bay was in early round of the playoffs, but okay, I'll give you that. Patriots. So Corey, what else is on your agenda? Corey
Well-
usually has an agenda for us.
The other thing that I was going to put on the hot seat there is how about the Texas Rangers? You know, they were taking down the World Series 2023 championship, banner, and they're going to display it somewhere else in the stadium, not in front of the whole fans. You know, when they're at the. Yes.
Why?
I don't get that. They're like, we're looking at 2025 and, looking forward. We're not looking backwards. I mean,
Well, they had
for
it, yeah.
something
They had-
like that
maybe,
there,
yeah.
you keep it in the rafters. You keep it right up there for fans
Sure.
to view. So
You're
when I saw
proud of
that,
it.
I look at that as just a bogus response there. I feel like, the fans deserve to see that out in the open. You had that out last year, but now it's down. So I look at that as, head scratching. And then, on a positivity, how about the cycle last night? We had a cycle from the Cubs, from the catcher Carson Kelly.
Wow,
Hit
a
for the
triple.
cycle. Yeah, the triple was the last thing he needed. Got that, against the Athletics.
The Athletics, a team without a home.
Yeah. The last time the Cubs had a cycle was back in 1993 with Mark Grace. So that's going
Wow.
way back.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about baseball, there's something that we have been doing for the last 2 years, and that's called the ET, the ejection tracker. It is back, and we didn't talk about last week because we had the Gettysburg guys on the show, so we didn't have time to talk about it. But we did have an ejection that was from yesterday. It was Ricky Weeks. The one of the coaches for the Brewers was arguing balls and strikes and got the heave-ho.
Aren't they 0-4?
They're
getting
yeah.
frustrated.
So
Yeah, so how many were there last year? 186?
180, 189. I was just looking
And
at
you
during
guessed,
the show there.
what was your guess?
184.
So Corey was the leader. We have another guy that calls us quite often, and he really is fascinated by this countdown. So there's only one last week, in week one ejection.
Yep.
So 6 months times 4, 24. I think there are going to be more than 24 ejections.
I think
as
so.
things heat up. I'm saying 100. So Jack, you want to get in on this action? How many ejections there'll be in Major League Baseball?
For the whole season?
Whole
Yeah.
season, yeah.
We gave you a little data. 189 last year. I said 100.
I think the 2 years ago was 216. So
Wow.
ejections have gone down a little
And
bit.
we mused that if there's automated balls and strikes, it would probably go down even
I
more.
think so too, yes.
Okay,
I would say 180.
180. Okay, Corey, what do you think?
I'm going to go with a little bit more this year. I think there's going to be a brawl out there. I think there's going to be a little fight action that, will raise up the numbers. So I'm going to say 205. 205 for
Wow,
ejections
wow.
this year. I think there's
right.
going to be some bad blood in the middle of the summer, August. There could be a a game where there could be 7 ejections there. So I don't know. That's where I'm going. I'm going a little high this year.
So, Jack, what are the top stories out of talk radio in Philadelphia? Anybody unhappy? I mean, I guess the Sixers are not getting any love.
Well, I will say that the talk show hosts in the Philadelphia area are just Negadelphia. All they do is want to
Yeah.
and like they're picking on Trey Turner. God, the guy's he's really a good player. I mean, he hit 295 last year.
Right. Yeah, well, maybe they need to, the fans stuck with them, so why don't the writers do that?
But the media, they want something to write, want to talk about something and get the fans all stirred up, so they're really downplaying him, and I think it's really unfair because he used to scare the heck out of me when he was with the Nationals.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Dodgers for that
I
matter,
was just
too.
going to
Yeah.
say, won a ring with the Dodgers. He had, 100 RBIs, 100 runs scored. He had a massive season for the Dodgers. And there's talk about his defense. I mean, if you had to say, there are times he boots routine balls. I've seen it. You probably have too. But, I mean, I don't know. Where else you going to put him? You could put him in center field, like the O'Neal Cruz for the Pirates. They moved him to center field.
Yep.
I wonder how that's going.
I think so far, okay. But, you know, I mean, that's the leader, you know, that's the unsung hero sometimes there with the Phillies there with Trey Turner. You know, he's going to get you the stats. He's going to have 20-plus home runs. He's going to probably bat like, you know, that 250, 275 around that, you know, time frame there. But, you know, he just misses 2 games and, you know, it's just
Yeah.
up in an uproar.
Well, I mean, there's a little carryover from last year. Jack, you can say if you agree with me or not, but Turner and Castellanos, they couldn't lay off the low outside breaking ball. They would swing at that every time and strike out. So, I mean, I think there's more of an attempt this year for plate discipline. And Jack, you played baseball collegiately, so talk about that.
Talk about what?
Plate discipline, you know, how important it is, and do you agree or disagree with?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. Every time I watched the games last year, they were always swinging at the pitches, the sliders and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They were going low and outside, and they'd swing at it, missed it by a mile.
Yeah.
But they never learned. I
No.
mean, where was the manager and the batting coach?
Yeah.
Weren't they, I just don't think I think that the manager, he does a good job. He's a winner.
Yeah.
But I think he lets the inmates run the show, I think, sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And Bohm always seems to swing at the first pitch. I mean, one of the late innings yesterday, leadoff guy gets on, Bohm up, grounds into a double play on the first pitch. I mean, the guy's wild. You just walk somebody, make him throw a strike. You like Scott Fransky?
Scott.
The radio guy for the Phillies. Play-by-play guy. Scott Fransky. And then
Is that his name?
Kevin Stocker. Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Stocker's the play. Is the,
He's okay. I mean, I guess Larry Anderson is on the shelf. He's on IR. Apparently he's not well. I don't know the deal. Can you find that out? What's wrong with Larry Anderson?
I probably won't be able to find that
No,
one
that's
that
not
quick
too
here, yeah.
too obscure
Yeah.
a point.
That's not on the ESPN,
No,
you know,
not on the radar.
toggle.
Well, listen, Jack, say hello to Mary Lou. It's been great chatting. Any parting thoughts, profound projections, anything of that nature?
yeah, I would say that the Phillies are going to make the playoffs again this year, and it's going to be a dogfight to who gets to go to the World Series. So.
Yeah, with the Dodgers.
Except for they got the Dodgers. They're going to be. It's going to be tough to get by them. I mean, all the Japanese players.
Yeah, but it's always.
Are signing with them because I guess one of the reasons is Los Angeles is a lot closer to Japan than Philadelphia is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean the media, and then already they have a record of having Ohtani. So I mean he kind of laid the groundwork first with the Angels, now with the Dodgers. And you're right, it is right around the corner from Tokyo.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but a lot closer than New York. You're right.
It seems like Los Angeles and Seattle get all the Japanese players.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Azuki, first ballot Hall of Famer. One guy didn't vote for him. How'd
I
that
still
happen?
don't know who that guy is. No. Or her. Jack, before you head out, my question for you is who do you think is going to be the most valuable Philly in 2025? You know, I mean, it could be a pitcher, hitter, you know, in your opinion.
That's a good question. I think it's that Wheeler.
Took the
Zach
words.
Wheeler.
That's who I was thinking.
He is a horse. And I think, Jack, I told you this, when they were playing the World Series against the Astros, and Topper takes Zach Wheeler out just because he got one guy on. I turned it off because I knew Alvarado, sure enough, he gave up, a 3-run homer, and they lost the game. I mean, Zach Wheeler's gotten out of jams before. That was we talk about Topper, I mean, that was a bad move. Mm-hmm. But the
I guess he reached his pitch count.
well, it's a World Series, so I don't know, but and the guy hit lefties well. I forget who it was, Jordan Alvarez maybe or somebody like
I
that.
believe that's who.
All right, and Alvarado and Alvarez.
Impressing me is that the guy they picked up from the Twins, Kepler.
Yeah,
He had a really good spring training, and he's got off to a really good start. And I think he's a guy to watch this year.
yeah. I heard him on Star of the Game. He sounded like he studies the game, a real student of hitting, and I guess I haven't really seen enough of him defensively. Is he okay defensively?
Yeah, he can hold his own out there.
Yeah.
He's about, you know, above average, you know, defender there. You know, that's a sneaky under the radar player. I would agree. You know, Max Kepler is a guy that you should get more recognition there, but doesn't get in the national, landscape there.
Well, he killed the Phillies when they played the Twins. Not very often, but I remember he definitely got the Phillies' attention. They knew about him, and so far, who was the guy that they had last year down the stretch from the Orioles, the left fielder? He had
Are you talking about Austin Hayes there? or-
Austin
yeah,
Hayes.
yeah.
I knew you would know. I mean, he's had some great years in the MLB, but
Now he's with the Reds now.
how's he doing?
He's doing okay.
Surely.
I mean, he's more of the bench guy, you know,
Fourth-
kind of
fourth
the
outfielder.
the-
Yeah. Well, yeah, so compared to him, he's an upgrade. And then they had Schwarber out there when Harper was hurt, so that wasn't too good. So, yeah, Marsh. So who do you like in the outfield? Rojas in center, Marsh in left, Castellanos in right? I mean, I guess that's what they're going with so far.
I want Kepler in left field.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess, yeah, and they're both left-handed, so I think Marsh did play.
Marsh and Rojas can platoon in center.
Yeah,
And Castellanos in right field.
yeah, I think, yeah.
I don't know what you do with Marsh and platoon with Rojas.
Yeah, the internet had him traded too, so he's one of the stranger dudes, the way he wets down his hair before a game, and hey,
That's weird.
you could do that if you're hitting 300. If you're 200, maybe
not, you know.
Well, Jack, it's been great having you on the show. Hopefully we can do it again sooner. I know you were on. It's been a while.
Question?
Yeah,
He's a
Oh yeah. Fire
Ravens
what?
fan.
Yeah.
No. I'm just so
he's in Ohio State football.
football. I'm a Bears fan. So
That's right,
Not
the
not
Bears.
not but the Ravens there. So
Can't explain it.
You're not a Ravens fan?
no.
But you could
so-
ask him a question
I can
anyway. He's
answer,
in the
yeah.
know.
What do you think about them signing John Harbaugh for another 3 years?
I wasn't surprised just because of the how many years he has been with the Ravens. So you have that leadership there, and you don't want to rock the boat there. So
Kind of like the Mike Tomlin approach.
he's got a ring, and
Well, he's got a ring, and well, so does Tomlin have one.
Yeah.
So.
But he's got playoff wins and all that there. So I wasn't surprised with that there. I don't see him going anywhere else. For that matter, at this moment, you had Belichick going that many years. So I see him probably finishing his career with the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
he was a good coach with the Eagles. He was the special teams coach, I think, and then he was defensive backs coach.
And Jim Harbaugh's, he's turning the Chargers around too, so. Well, listen, Jack, we're out of time. Go ahead.
You're thinking about Jim Harbaugh, right?
Well, I'm saying he's turned the Chargers around, yeah. So I'm kind of segueing to the rest of the Harbaugh family. Well, listen, it's been great. Again, love to Mary Lou, and
Yeah, say hi to Nancy.
I will. I will. We'll do it again
Thanks
soon.
for having me on. I
Of course.
really enjoyed it.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you there, Jack.
All right.
Take care.
All right, you too. Cuz, all right, we did a call out, so, we're just
That
about
wasn't,
out of time.
yeah, that
and,
wasn't a joke there either. Yeah, that was good having Jack on.
Yeah,
Kind of.
yeah, it was good. It was good. So, trivia is just around the corner, so don't go away.
Yeah.
Corey will be doing battle with the greatest minds in the universe. Are you nervous?
A little bit there,
You seem
yeah.
a little
I got the
tense.
jitters, so see what happens.
All right. Well, listen, thanks everybody for tuning in. Go ahead.
We have a birthday shout out, if you from the station.
Oh, that's right. Lara's birthday. Should I sing to her?
Maybe for trivia.
Maybe. Okay. All right. Well, happy birthday, Lara, and thanks to Jordan and Sean for keeping things steady. And thank you, Corey
Yep.
Smith, as always. I'm Jeff Cook. We'll see you next Tuesday and every Tuesday here on Sports Chat. Good night, everybody. Was that Robert trying to call? Hey, Carl. Oh man, we'll hopefully make it up to him next week. I didn't expect Jack to stay on